Yo, JD here, Tyrrell Limitless, and as always, back on F1 2019, and this time we're in WOR, which is the World Online Racing League. I think this is at round 10, 11, something like that. Never get it right, but we are at Silverstone, my home race of the season, and probably the race I look forward to most on almost every single F1 game. And this one here, on the soft tyre, you can use it for all the laps you do in qualifying, so none of this one-shot qualifying business on the medium or hard tyre. And so far the lap has gone pretty well, and I felt really confident going into this race. I always do a little bit of extra practice for Silverstone on every game, even if I have a lot of time to play it. And yeah, as I said, I was really looking forward to this. His pace is looking extremely good, doing a 25.5, 4.99 as a PB in practice, which is really good. It seems to be when I love a track, I'm very quick at it. And 25.9, so I kept on beating Pinecone, who then kept on beating me. And now this is the start of my final lap, and I was really hoping to get maybe a 7 or something, or maybe a 6 on a very good lap, whilst trying to stay within the track limits in the last sector, which is pretty easy not to do that. But going through this turn 1, clipping this inside curve, we can actually gain a little bit of time. You can see I'm already green on my Delta, and now going to this one here, third gear last minute to get extra rotation, about middle of the track before turning in first gear again, just to get an extra bite. Really hard on the traction here, and not a perfect first sector, but not a particularly bad one either. But it's mainly the middle sector where I'm getting a lot of time, and people's going through here now. I think I am just about up on Pinecone for this first sector. Fourth gear, third gear, second gear, short shift into third to minimise the wheel spin, and now coming onto this, pretty much the old turn 1 of the old layout, which I really did enjoy. It's an almost flat out for this right-hander just before the 50-meter board, just a slight lift, and then carry it through in 7th gear. I hold it in 7th gear through here, let the engine do a little bit of the braking whilst changing down to high ERS, again just minimising the wheel spin off this right-hander, and then as soon as the car's straight, that's when I go back into overtake to get the maximum power. And you can see purple middle sector, which was a pretty familiar story throughout practice against many of the top guys. Going through here now, missing the apex ever so slightly. In this corner here, did my best to stay on track, a fraction wide, and again staying in 6th gear to just get extra engine braking. Turning in early, going over the red curb, it gives you a little bit more grip going around here, and clunking this curb, going across the line, and we just missed out by 0.03, and that's a 25.816, which is not a bad lap by any means, but V-Syra putting in the performances again, a 25.703. A PB would have got me pole, but in practice I kept on consistently doing 0.7, so I was a little bit disappointed not to do a 7, but the lap was pretty clean and tidy, and that puts me P3 on the grid itself, so I can't really be too unhappy with that. But now for the start, I've been struggling with starts quite a bit, and as I'm talking in this video, I've actually finally figured out, which I had a Hockenheim race in WOR, of how to actually do the start. So I just apply way too much throttle application at the start of the race. I need to be a lot more patient, and you'll be able to see this here: 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights, and as the lights go out, look at the throttle. Second gear, just way too much throttle, and that gives me quite a lot of wheel spin. I get a little bit of contact from Snazzy even behind me, and Leopard has already got past me, who made a little bit of contact as well. Going into turn 2, trying to outbrake myself, but I actually hit the back of Pinecone, and that has given me a yellow wing, and now I'm being boxed around, trying to get back. I'm trying to be hit around again like some bumper cars, and that's put me into P8 with a yellow front wing. And you know, you can't win the race on the first lap, but you can certainly lose the race, and my aspiration before going into this was to win the race. I wanted to be fighting for the lead. I won this last season, I think in IOR. I think last season I won it from last on the grid, so I've always been I felt really good here. Didn't help I didn't get a good start, and at this point I was just focused on trying to go around the outside of Leopard, but I didn't realise or didn't anticipate how much Pinecone would be braking into that turn 2 or turn 3. And yeah, I think if I missed him, I would have kept my third place around the outside, because I would have had the inside line going to this corner. But now I've got yellow wing, and I didn't really get angry inside. I'm absolutely fuming, but you know, there's no point really trying to show it at this point. I've just got to try and do the best I can. And I still felt I could get a good result because safety car can come out, anything can happen here. And despite having yellow wing, as Martin, my teammate's already left because I think he had an incident as well, it's, you know, it's still something to play for. I wasn't going to give up. I would still go push, and you can see just we have chronic understeer now. It's going to be very, very difficult to keep up with these guys. It's going to be almost near impossible because they're breaking through Maggots and Beckett's, which is normally a pretty comfortable flat out corners to stream. That's not the video, that's the stream actually lagging itself. But yeah, not really able to do anything. So my strategy for this was just trying to stay as close to the top guys as much as possible. As we're coming under attack from VSR Tom, who's actually gone off the track there. And again, no real point fighting this too hard, because with this wing, you're going to be losing with a yellow wing, I'd say almost about a second a lap. That's not a joke or anything at all. Normally, I think we're doing very high 29s quite consistently in the first stint. And you can see going through here, and another corner that's normally pretty easy to go flat out. But on this occasion, I think I had to literally brake going through that turn 1 as we got Leobot behind me on the soft tyres. And now in P9, you know, the leaders, the front 3 have already gone. It just shows how costly, if you just get a bad start in this game and you lose track of the DRS train for the lead, let alone without damage, it's going to be very difficult. So with damage now, moving on to lap 6, you can see the guys on ahead of me, they've just pulled away, and my fastest lap is a 31.3, so we are struggling quite a bit in this. And again, got KJ Gamer behind me, and I was actually quite happy. I'm still somehow managing to be in the top 10 still, so I've just let him go. There's no real point. There's Leopards behind me as well. I don't think he's got any damage though, and we're just going to try and use these guys to just stay with them until the pit stops. And yeah, there's no point pitting earlier on because the pit lane is just so long and it's a very easy one stop. So if I pitted earlier on, I pretty much would just be throwing away, I'd be pretty much guaranteed last in this race because the tyres won't be able to really last to the end. And Leopard's gone down the inside just with that extra downforce, and once again just leaving him to it. There's no real point fighting him whatsoever because we are going to have to change the front wing in the pits, and a front wing change is probably about an extra 5 to 6 seconds or something like that. So it's a real big shame at this point in the race because the practice, when the pace I was doing in practice and the qualifying, it showed it there as well, it was looking extremely good, and I just love driving this track. I just love racing this track. I've had some of my best races ever. I think my season 8 race in AOR here, in IOR last year, in WOR I think last year as well, I've had all my top 5 league races have been on this track because I just love driving it. Not even the case of just being quick here, I just love driving this track. It just feels like a real driver's track to me. We're moving on to the end of lap 8. Really, this is really the earliest lap you could really be making to the end. Anything earlier in this, you'd be struggling on tyres, and I can't really afford to be losing more time or going for an overcut at this point. So I followed Leopard going to the pits with a few others as well. So yeah, I'm going to lose some time here. I'm going to lose about 5-6 seconds with this wing change, but I still felt optimistic that I could make up time. I felt confident in my pace. I haven't got any warnings at this stage in the race. I don't think I've got any warnings whatsoever. So although we're going to lose some time here, as I said, I felt if people start battling ahead of me, if they do battle, which is not really common in this game, but if people do battle, then I could maybe actually do something. So normal pit stop is about 2.5 seconds. Let's see what it is. 8.3. We didn't get released straight away as well, so I said it's about 9 seconds. So we've lost about 6 seconds. Of 6 plus seconds, minimum 6 seconds we've lost there. So you can see we were right behind Leopard in the pits. He's nowhere to be seen now. And coming out here, we come out in P13 with Leobot, who's just ahead of me now, with WOR Verstappen, who's actually gone for an early pit stop. So we sorted that into, luckily, well, Leobot's not right in front of me, so I've got a little bit of time for my tyres to heat up, and then hopefully I'll get past him very too quickly, which we move on to the next lap now. Verstappen's actually done the fastest lap of the race, so showing that the medium tyres are working pretty well, and you can see the dot of Leopard, you can see just crossing over there. So he's gained a lot of time considering that wing change, and now coming off this corner, just getting some very good traction. The setup I was using was working so well here, which is just more frustrating because I just felt so good going into this race. And yeah, it's not really about the speed or anything. I was just really looking forward to just having a good battle and just then hopefully winning the race. That really was my complete goal. I wanted nothing but to just try and win this race. So, but now I was surprisingly positive, but I was just trying to just do the best comeback that I could. If I could get points from here, I think that would be a really, really good result. And as always, showing the fastest lap I do in the race. Well, I've done this race as well. And yeah, it's just an example of really of how I was driving for most of the time. The race, I was really, really consistent and really had to kind of get used to the downforce levels again, because after having that yellow wing, the car then felt incredibly twitchy. So kind of had to get used to it again, as the gap ahead of me is about 3.9 seconds. I think once I passed Leobot, it was about 4.4 seconds. And VS Ewan, if I've said that right, there's no mug or anything. Everyone in this league is really, really quick. There's no one, as I said in my stream yesterday, there's no one who is slow in any of the leagues, the top tier leagues. There's no one who's off pace or anything. Everyone is very good. It's mainly just about consistency, and I felt I had the speed and the consistency around here, and this was just an example really of how I was driving 99% of the time. But going through the middle sector now, gaining a bit more time, Speed Syrat puts in a 29.4, which is very, very quick on these medium tyres. And I think the front runners, they pitted a couple of laps later than me as well. So they have slightly fresher tyres, but it's not really going to make too much of a difference. Aiming for that red curb, as I was saying before, just kind of drags you around the corner. Coming across the line, we do a 29.3. So yeah, frustrating again, but you know, the first lap of the race, if you just get a good start, it can make a massive difference. If you're just with that front train, even if you don't have the pace, you'll go be in a position to really fight for wins and, you know, for a really good result. But skipping to lap 22 now, nothing really happened too much other than just pumping in really, really consistent times. And I actually caught the group behind. I've actually broken the DRS of WR Verstappen and Leopold. You can see how much a gap we've actually pulled away. And it's just a great shame, because we were just lapping 29.5s, 29.6s, or just constantly in the 29s. If you could do that on the medium straight throughout every lap, that's very, very good. So yeah, I was very, very determined to try and catch this group, because we've got a chance of points now. So if I get a chance of points, I would actually, you know, kind of lower the blow a little bit for what happened at the start of the race. But now, catching these guys, since I pitted a little bit earlier than them, the car just felt very, very twitchy behind them. And I don't think it's really because of dirty air. I just kind of felt my tyres are going off, because I was just pushing so hard. And you can see with the fuel and ERS as well, pushing that to the limit. I was just pushing so hard because I just really wanted to catch this group. But I didn't want to make any dive bombs or anything. Almost fixing the car there. But it's a bit annoying because these guys all have DRS on each other. But I'm just being quite cautious right now, because I just don't want to get damage or anything at all. But let's see what we can do here. Getting a good exit off here. No DRS line like I did in previous games. But going to here, actually braking going to, because I just felt the car, it just felt very, very twitchy all of a sudden going through this. You can see going through this corner now. He was thinking about going to the inside, but definitely not close enough on this occasion. Trying to get a good run, and yeah, just not really confident on the traction. I just kind of feel like my tyres are just really almost gone at this point in the race. But luckily I still have some fuel and ERS, so I was really hoping one of them would just get out the ERS or the DRS zone of one another, and then I could actually pick them off, because I caught Ewan by 4.4 seconds in about 14 or 13 laps. So showing that we had some really, really good speed. But overtaking is a completely different thing. So going through this old turn one now, I was trying to get as close as possible, coming out of Maggots and Beckett's, because I think the setup I was using, 2.5 wings or something like that. So the setup was pretty aggressive. It was designed to really be in clean air. In clean air, I think it was absolutely rapid. But when you're behind someone, it gets a little bit too oversteered. But you can see in the straight line, we're absolute missile in a straight line. Thinking about going down the inside there, but again, considering what happened at the start of the race, I just don't want to get damage again. I was just very, very cautious in terms of that aspect. I just didn't want to get any damage whatsoever. Going over the red curb, and now trying to get some good traction now, as Ewan has actually, I was hoping he kind of broke the DRS of EVR Reynolds, So that would leave him vulnerable, and I think down the straight we have the potential to do a double overtake as KJ Gamer's thinking back on the inside, compromises him a little bit. So I was thinking back on the inside, but again, I just felt behind here. I don't know if it was the dirty air, because there's not really any dirty air in this game, but the car just felt really, really twitchy all of a sudden, and we've actually lost some time now. So if we want to get into the points, I have to dispatch of these two pretty quickly. And it looks like Ewan is started to pull away from these guys. So if I want to get past him, I need to get past these guys as soon as possible. Still got some fuel and ERS to play with. So let's see, going through Maggers Beckers, if I can do anything about this. You can see in a straight line of just how fast we actually are. And we've definitely got a better corner this time. They're going side by side, which again, something you don't want. So going for this right-hander, I was thinking about going around the inside for this left-hander here, but didn't really pay off. And let's see if I could get a good exit of this, which I do just about now. Getting the DRS as early as possible, and let's see what a straight line speed is like. Going right behind rounds, you can see how slow he is without the DRS. So we're just trying to hook it on the inside here, as we're doing just about nicely. We actually bang wheels a little bit, and now we've just gone into the wall. And yeah, don't know what to say about that.
Oh my god.
You know, there wasn't even a dive bomb move or anything whatsoever. That was just, I don't know, I think that's just an unfortunate touch of wheels, and then the game just decided to just slam us together as we go watching in slow motion again here. So KJ Gamer is going down the inside. That's going to leave a gap there, so I decided to go in this gap. Wasn't pushing him out wide or anything, but now we hit wheels. That just makes him then spin. So I'd say that probably is more of my fault than his. So I think it is my fault, but just very, very unfortunate, because we had a chance of points. And overall, some positives to take. The qualifying was good, the raw speed was good, the consistency was good, but at the end of the day, I want those results. And yeah, if you could just make it through lap 1, if I could have just made it in the top 3, top 4, could have been a completely different race. But we'll see Snazzy even here, who actually went on to win the race. You can see he's hardly in the 29s there, and he actually went on to win because Visar had a penalty. And we're going to go over to myself and see what times I was doing. And you can see we pitted early in him, lap 8, and you see we're literally in the 29s every single lap, and he won the race. So, you know, it doesn't show you need the raw speed to win. You just need to be in the right place, right time, really. But that's the thing about league racing. You know, it's cruel, but it's also awesome at the same time. But as always, thank you so much for supporting me. I hope you enjoyed this video. Next stream will be on Friday at Singapore ILR, so stay tuned to that. But as always, see you next time. Peace.